Hi everyone, welcome to this webinar. My name is Manush and today we are going to set up a Jira integration and configure the sync afterward. We will also walk you through an advanced use case of status mapping. Before we start, I want to let you know that you can ask any questions you have in the chat on the right side of the screen. We'll try our best to answer them straight away, but if you're not able to answer your questions, we'll make sure to get back to you shortly. And one more thing, if you liked this webinar, then I would appreciate it if you take 1 minute to fill out a survey form. I would really appreciate it. Okay, let's get started. Over to you, Jose.
Thank you everyone for attending the webinar. My name is Jose. I'm the pre-sales engineer of Exalate. And today we're going to see two different features that Exalate has. One of them is pretty recent and very different from what we have had from the past years. It's called the visual mode. That is what I will show you. I'm pretty excited to show you how easy it is to synchronize between I'm going to currently show you Jira Server to Jira Cloud synchronization, but you can do this with most of the products we support. You will see how easy it is to synchronize. You don't need any coding experience. You just select from a drop-down, and you can synchronize them. You can do the mappings that you want. All this without adding any scripts. And then Mikhail is going to show you an advanced scenario with scripting, in which you will see an advanced scenario, as I mentioned. There's also another difference between these two. And one of them is that the visual mode is a centralized UI. So we recommend it for internal cases, but it's also possible between multiple companies. Just that it will the UI will be under one administrator. And then the script mode, you have both interfaces as we have showed before. So each side of the synchronization has a part on the integration, and each of them agree to what they want to sync. So the control is in both sides or both companies, as you might tell. I'm going to quickly share some slides to give you, if you don't have an understanding of what Exalate is, you might want to. Exalate is the leading cross-company synchronization solution, specifically for project management tools. I'm going to show you specifically an integration between Jira Server and Jira Cloud. We have a distributed architecture for the scripting version, which makes it very secure compared to other products. And now we have the visual mode, which is a little different architecture, but same capabilities and even easier to use. Currently, we support all these trackers: Jira, GitHub, HP, Azure DevOps, Jira Software, not only Jira Software, but Jira Service Desk and Service Management, Zendesk, and ServiceNow. For Jira specifically, which is what we're trying to focus in this webinar, you can download Exalate from the Atlassian Marketplace. You have a 30-day trial, and then you can move to a paid subscription afterwards. You have unlimited syncs and unlimited connections with each license, and you can connect any of the products we support from this previous slide. So you can connect Jira to Azure DevOps, or Jira to GitHub, or Azure DevOps to GitHub. As long as you have a valid license, you will be able to connect any relation in between these products. Currently, as I mentioned, we're only going to see a Jira Cloud to a Jira Server. Now I am going to go ahead and share my screen and show you how that connection would look and how you can sync it very easily with the visual mode. I think you should be able to see my screen. Can you confirm that, Manush? Can you see the Jira Cloud on the left and the Jira Server on the right?
I can see your screen split, yeah.
Okay. So what you see on the left is a Jira Cloud, and then on the right is a Jira Server. The difference is that one is hosted in the cloud and one is hosted in the servers that you opt for. This synchronization can also happen between Jira Cloud to Cloud or server to server. I'm going to now initiate a connection from Exalate. As you might tell, Exalate is already downloaded and configured in each of the trackers. What this means is I give it permission to edit, view, and change issues in each of the products. Exalate is an add-on, so on the Jira side, you click here, go for apps, and you will have this window in which, if you go here, you have Exalate and all its tabs. And the same for the Jira server side, in which if you click here, you go to add-ons and you will have this tab in which you have all your app tabs. And in Exalate, you go to connections, and this is where you would create a connection. As I mentioned before, you can have multiple connections, as you see here and here. What this means is that each of these connections is a specific connection I have currently deactivated, but I could have it active, connected to a specific product. Here I have Jira Server to Jira Cloud. Here I had, well, currently from the naming, it's difficult to see, but I could have a connection to Azure DevOps, GitHub, any of the products we support. So now I am going to initiate a new connection to this Jira Cloud. I am going to choose the public destination type, since both of my products are publicly accessible and not behind a firewall. Now I am going to copy this URL, paste it here. And now Exalate is checking that there is a receiving Exalate in this URL. And since there is one, now I can proceed to give this connection a name. First, local instance short name means the naming for this specific Jira server within the connection. I'll call it Jira Server Demo Webinar, sorry. And then Jira Cloud, which is the destination webinar. This is the webinar connection. Now I can proceed to click next. And these are the two options I have. Mikhail will show you a little bit of the script mode. As I mentioned, it is based on Groovy scripting. You can configure each side of the connection separately and meant for cross-company collaboration mostly. And you can also have, in order from simple to advanced scenarios based on scripting. On the other side, the visual mode is a low-code visual interface that you will see in a minute. Both sides have a single interface, and it is, there's little complexity. It's just selecting from a drop-down, very intuitive, easy for people that have not coded before, like myself. So for now, I am going to click Verify Admin Access. In this case, it will automatically accept it from this side because my cache and I have done this multiple times. But when you install and configure Exalate, a window will come up here in which the admin from the Jira Cloud side will have to accept it, and it will allow you to continue. Since I have done it before, it allows me to continue. But as I mentioned, you will have a new window come up here. Now you will need to click Next. And now it looks like it's loading, and we should be able to configure the sync now. So now I am going to configure the sync, and I am going to open this window completely, so that because all the scope and rules are set up here. Manish, can you confirm that you're seeing the entire screen with the connections tab.
Yeah, I see all.
Thank you. So now I have to select the project that I want to start the sync from. From the Jira server side, I will look for the test project. And then I will click automatic. In a second, I'll explain what's happening here. And then I am going to choose the landing project, which is hosted test on the Jira Cloud side. So what will happen after I click next here? What will happen is that any issue that I create under test project within this Jira server will automatically create a corresponding issue on the hosted test project in the Jira Cloud. And any update that I have in any of the two tickets will automatically show up on the other end. If I want to filter out so that only specific issues are mirrored from Jira Server to Jira Cloud, I can just click here, filter entities, and then select the issue type, status, or the specific entity that I want to filter out from. So now I'm going to give you an example. If I click on to do and I save it, all the issues that are in status to do in the project test, those are the ones that will sync to the Jira Cloud side. This can be more than one entity. This could be priority equals low and status equals to do. After that is when the issue will get created from Jira Server to Jira Cloud. If it doesn't have these two values, it will not get synced to the hosted test project. And you can do this the other way around too. You can click on automatic, filter the entities from the Jira Cloud to Jira Server, and that is how it would filter out the issues created from hosted test to the project test in Jira Server. I'm going to keep it simple and leave it without filtered entities so that any issue that I create on their test project will go to hosted test project. I'm going to click next. And this is where I would define the mapping of fields between the different Jiras or projects specifically. If I don't want to synchronize a specific field, I can just delete it. Like in this case, I'm going to delete priority so that it doesn't synchronize bi-directionally. And now it just got deleted from here and it will not sync. If I have different values between the different fields, meaning if on one side I only have epic and task, but on one of the sides I have one more, I can just click on it, subtask, and then set a default value like task. Sorry, like story. So what will happen here is that if I change the issue type from epic to subtask in Jira Cloud, it will change from epic to story in Jira Server. I know that might not be intuitive, but it's just the first example I had. You can also set a default value so that if there's no matching value, like if, for example, if I didn't have a subtask option on the Jira Server side and I didn't have this field mapped, if I set the subtask option here without this mapping, I can either set a default value as story or report an error. So you have that option too. And you have out of the box all these fields that are synchronizing bi-directionally. I can also add new mappings of custom fields or any field that I want. As you see here, I can see all the fields that I have on my Jira server. And I can map it to any of the fields I have on my Jira Cloud. It could be in one direction, meaning every time I update something from the Jira server side, it updates on the Jira Cloud side, but not the other way around. Or it could be only the other way around, or bi-directionally, which is most of our users' cases. Now I am going to go ahead and publish this mapping as it is we will have to wait for it to be published, and then you will see a sync go through from the Jira server to the Jira Cloud. Okay, this was successfully published, and now I am going to create a new issue within the project test. The title would be issue from red Jira server, description test from Jira server, and I need to add the effects version here so that it can be created. I'm just going to add 2 words that have no sense, make no sense, just for creation purposes. And now this is the issue I just created. I'm going to open it. I am also going to filter this to, to mix these two so that we have the correct view for this again. Let's refresh. So as you see on the lower right section, we have the Exalate panel, which is shows you the status of the synchronization. It says it is waiting for remote. And now it is synchronized, as you see. It also shows you the issue number on the Jira Cloud side, which if you have credentials, you can click on it and jump directly to the issue itself. And as you can see here, we are on the Jira Cloud side. It is blue, different than this one. And it has the title and the description. And now any comment I make from any of the 2 ends will show up in the other side. So comment from Jira Cloud. From the Jira Cloud, you can also click Exalate and see the status. It says it is in progress. And here is the issue key on the Jira server side. If I refresh, it should show up. Here it's the comment. And now if I change the status from to do to in progress, it would also change from to do to in progress on this end. Let me see. Currently, I cannot see the status, but we can go to the board to see if it changed status. Okay, here it is. It changed to in progress. We can check the history or the word logs to see the changes. Yeah, here it is. So it was created, and then 17 seconds ago, it changed from to do to in progress. This is some of the things that you can do out of the box with a connection creation like I just did. It's something that doesn't need extra configuration. All that I did here can be perfectly done by you with the same, just by downloading and following the steps of this webinar. I didn't have any extra configuration from before. So that is how simple it is to create a connection and synchronize bi-directionally. In this case, you saw the comments and the statuses. That is some of the things that you can do. You can also synchronize any of the other fields that were in the mapping section in this specific mappings. So now I am going to go ahead and move to Mikhail's section, and hope you enjoy the scripting version and the more advanced scenario of status mapping with the script mode.
Hello everyone, welcome to this webinar. I am Michiel and I'm going to show you a more advanced use case of Exalate. The use case that we'll be using today is status mapping. What is status mapping, you might ask? Well, status mapping is the mapping of statuses. This means that, let's say, your end of the connection, your company is connected to company B, and company B has a status name that is different than your status name, but they actually mean the same. Let's say on your end, when an issue is created, the status name is going to be new. And on the other end of the connection, the status name is going to be to do. Both statuses mean the same, or could mean the same. But without status mapping, you would need to exactly replicate all the different names of your workflow. So let's say you need to copy the workflow names of your client or your customer or wherever you're connecting to for all different statuses inside of the system. And this is something we don't want. We want that you can keep the way your system is. You just create a mapping for it, and you don't need to change your system because you're synchronizing to different companies or teams. Status mapping can be done on statuses, but we also have mappings of other values. You can map priorities. Let's say on your end, you only have 2 priorities, high and low, and you're synchronizing to a customer that has high, medium, low, lowest, highest. You can map all these values to each other. You can map between the same fields, you can map between different fields. You have an endless amount of options. So let's get started. First of all, we need to create a connection. So I open up the Connections tab using the shortcut of G on Jira. Wait for Exalate to load. When Exalate is done, we can initiate the connection. We can do this by clicking the green button. We're using a public connection in this case, and we need to provide the destination instance URL. And as you can see here, I have a Jira server instance on this end. I can copy the URL, paste it in here. Exalate is going to be validated, and I can give a name to my local instance. I could use, let's say, Jira Cloud demo. This is Jira server demo, and I'm going to name this connection. Oops, this connection. Voila. Hit next. Then I need to select what project I want to use. I'm going to use the Exalate demo project on this side, and Exalate given us the invitation code. I can go to the remote site, click accept the invitation, paste it in here, wait for the validation. I'm going to use the single project template. I use the project on this side, also Exalate demo. Hit confirm, and our synchronization has been created. To validate that everything is working well, I'm going to create an issue, test A, for example, with some description, and hit create. Let's open up the issue, and we can Exalate this issue. And here we need to provide the connection that we're using. So the one I created earlier was Michiel's connection. Hit submit. And we see that the sync status has popped up on the right hand side of the screen, and we're currently in progress. So let's go to the Jira Cloud side. In the meantime, hit refresh, and as you can see, the issue has been created on this end. We see our description nicely here, and on the Exalate lens we can see that it's blue 4524, and that's this issue 4524. So now this is done, we're going to create the configuration. Let's head over to the Connections tab. Then we have the Initial connection on the side. Edit. And we're going to do our mapping on the incoming sync. So let me remove these defaults, commented code. What we can do, and I'm going to create, I'm not going to create the whole code here. I have it copied somewhere else. So I need this part, and let me show you the workflow real quick. We have a simple workflow on the system. An issue is coming in as new. When we go to in progress, we can go to on hold, go back to in progress, go to finished, and decline. Let's go and view the workflow on this side. When the issue is created, we start in to do, so that's already a difference. It's new and to do. When you start working, we have working on it and pending, so that's different. It's on hold and in progress, and our final statuses are done and cancelled. And here we use finished and declined. So as you can see, these workflows are quite similar. The only difference between them is their names. And we're not going to change our whole workflow because our customer or the company we're connecting to uses different names in their workflow. No, we can just map these values. So on this side, it's in progress and new. So we can go to our code. The first thing we need is a status mapping. So this is a map where you define the remote status name and the local status name. So as you can see here, the remote status name is always on the left side of the semicolon. The local status name is going to be on the right side of the semicolon. So as you can see, when the remote status is to do, it needs to be new on this local instance. When it's working on it, it's going to be in progress, and so on. Then we're going to define the remote status name, and we're going to take it from the replica.status.name that's being sent over. As you can see here, the replica.status is being sent over, and this contains the name of the status. And then we're going to set the status of the local issue, and we're going to look up the remote status name inside of the mapping that we have, and we're going to put it in the issue. So I can publish on this end of the connection, and now I can go to the other end of the connection, the Jira server side. So I'm going to go to the connections tab, look at my connection, Michiel's connection here, edit, same as the last one. Go to the rules tab. I'm going to quickly remove these, voila. And now we need the same status mapping, but instead of having the remote status, it will be still on the left side, so it means we need to flip them. I already did this, so as you can see, if the remote status is new, it's going to be to do on the local side. If it's in progress on the remote side, it's going to be working on it, and so on. The code works the exact same on this end. We can hit publish. Voila, the changes have been published. So what we can do is let's create a new issue. 2, for example. Let's create. Voila, it has been created. So we're going to synchronize this issue using Exalate. For Michiel's connection in this case. Submit, and our issue is synchronizing. So let's go back to this issue. Back to the project. Oh, use it was already. And you can see that the issue has been created. So let's say we're going to start working. So this means the current status of this issue is in progress. This means if we look at our mapping, when the status would have been in progress, it should be working on it on the screen. So when I refresh the issue, you can see that the status is working on it. Let's in this case go to pending. So the issue is currently in the pending status. This would mean that on the Jira Cloud side, if I'm not mistaken, it should be on hold. So when I refresh the screen, we can see that it's nicely on hold. We can start work. We say we decline this issue, and declined means that it should be cancelled on the Jira server side. So let's wait for it to synchronize. So the first change has come through because we went to in progress first. And let's just refresh once again, and we can see that the issue has been cancelled. So this mapping contains a one-to-one mapping, but what you can always do is, let's say, well, I have two statuses for the remote side, and they both mean that the issue is in progress on this end. Let's say I don't have the on hold status in my system. I can define a mapping that does this, and what will this do? It's going to say working on it. It's going to be on the local side, it's going to be in progress. But if the remote side is pending, it will always also be in progress on our end. So you can do a multiple to one mapping as well. So I think this is plenty of information regarding mapping. Something to note is that indeed you will always be able to do mapping of any value. You can do mapping of number fields, of text fields, any field in your system could almost be used for mapping. Then I thank everyone for your time, and I hope this was useful. Bye.
Jose and Michiel for the presentation. So would you like to try Exalate? It's very easy to get started. All you need to do is to set up Exalate, install Exalate on each side of your synchronization and connect the two instances. Then you can configure and customize your synchronization based on your specific needs. So most of our users are able to set it up in less than 30 minutes. And if you ever have any questions, you can reach out to the Exalate community or to one of our partners. So if you think that Exalate is a solution for you or one of your clients, you can click on the link shared in the chat and start a free trial. And if you like to book a demo, then you can have some sessions with our product experts and go through all your specific use cases. Thank you so much for your time. I hope this was helpful for you guys. As we have always been trying to improve our webinars, it would be very appreciated if you take 1 minute and fill out a survey form in another page. You will be redirected in 5 seconds. Thank you very much and see you in other webinars. Bye.